Hello and welcome to another event preview with myself and, well, it was supposed to be Yumi, but unfortunately I've had to find a stand-in. It's Smirky, who has kindly agreed to replace Yumi and waived his, typical $1 million fee. So, Smirky, how you doing, man?
No worries, man. Just to make sure you're going to be paying me after this, right? The
No,
million
I
dollars.
thought you said I was a charity case, so I didn't need to.
Right, okay.
But yeah, we've got the big star with us, and well, we're going to take a look at this champion stage. We already broke down the challenge stage with Yumi. Didn't have time to find a spot for that legend stage in between. This whole major should be split over 3 weeks, in my opinion. Like, this is so packed in and messy.
It's
It really,
it's pretty quick, isn't it, actually?
yeah,
Like,
it really
between each
hinders
stage.
content. Like,
Yeah, I remember, like, between the challenges and legend stage, it was, like, only one day I was just rushing to get my pick'ems out. I was like,
yeah,
everywhere. And I don't think for this day I can even get my playoffs pick'ems out, unfortunately, because how
oh,
quick it goes.
it's annoying, isn't
But
it?
I'm
I
doing
mean,
this instead.
yeah, this is great. This is a far better option for you, I'm sure. But no, it's going to be a weird one. A lot of favourites dropped out, didn't make it through to this stage. Sucks to be them. But at the same time, you lose a best of three to B&E. Did you
Totally
merit
deserve it.
playoffs?
Honestly, I was watching last night. I was watching some of those phase demos as well. I'm probably gonna create a video about it as well. But man, phase really just kicked the bucket with that one. They threw so many rounds they should have won.
Yeah, they didn't play great.
It hurts.
It wasn't complete luck. It wasn't, two pistols, a lucky four spy, and, oh no, we lost. It was really, they just didn't play well. Which
Yeah,
was a shame to see. So I'd love to see them try to repeat, go deep in this
hundred
one.
percent. And don't forget, like they were one win off of the Intel Grand Slam. Imagine that winning the major, winning the Grand Slam in Rio. That would have been like a dream. But
I mean, the only problem with that is, geez, trying to avoid all the taxes. Just, that's the only thing I'd be worried about. But yeah, we're going to get into this champion stage preview. We're going to start with the favourite picks. There's only really two teams I've allowed to be favourites for this event because, well, it's a bit of a mess outside of that. There's two teams you really want to pick as favourites, and then everyone else, it's all up in the air. So, Smirky, filling in for Yumi, what is the first favourite pick?
I think one of the obvious favorites is going to be Furia. They've performed actually
Furia.
yeah, they've performed like amazingly throughout this entire tournament. Like they've completely overperformed. I've got the stats up here actually, and like on like the HLTV ratings pretty much has gone up by 10 for each player, which is kind of nuts. Yuri right now rocking a 1.4 rating. Um, I honestly think Fury could easily like create some easy upsets. However, the first game is against Navi, which is a bit, uh,
It's a
which
rough
is
one to
also
call.
it's a rough one, isn't it? Like again,
It's
like
just why
as your
I'm
first
pretty
opponent.
sure that is an underdog pick, not a favourite pick, because, oh my god.
Well, yeah, sorry, as an underdog, yeah,
I
one of the underdogs.
had a heart attack for a second there. I was like, holy crap. We've How far have we strayed from the light? Oh my
No,
god.
I think if Furia honestly would beats Navi, they could like be really dangerous. They could easily be like an underdog within this tournament. But in terms of like a favorite for the entire event, it
Mm,
would between like be Cloud9 and Navi, and you could actually favor Cloud9 in this. I think
okay.
in the challenges they performed. I'm not gonna lie, they performed crap. That Greyhound game,
Oh, we don't want to talk about that. That was
I don't know
horrible.
I don't know what they're doing on their T sides. Like their T side is well, as a lot of people know, their T side is very like to poke the bear a little bit, then just sit and wait, see if there's any pushes, whatever. And now they just let it all loose. But coming into the Legend stage, they looked fantastic. Like Shiro, Axel, Nafinit, whoa! Especially the game against FaZe. Like they just got completely destroyed on their T side when it switched over, and they were defending. Like, they just couldn't be touched. Every time
Yeah.
FaZe wanted to touch the B bomb site, Nafany and Hobbit, their setups, you know, their defaults and whatever, they were so perfect. Hobbit was just not blind during any of those executes and was just able to double up. They're like, okay, we can't go B. How about we try to go A? Well, then you have to meet Shiro and Axile, where maybe Axile would maybe lose a lose to the opening kill, it'll be Shiro left on the A bomb side, but Shiro's just able to retreat and just get an easy double kill. And then the rotations are coming in. And it's all of a sudden the round's already over. So I don't know what suddenly just clicked, because for my own pick'ems, I didn't have them making it through.
Oh,
But now
that's
I,
tragic.
I know I know my pick'ems are in, they're in the bin now, if I'm honest. I only got 3 or 2 right. Bloody fears, but
I mean, I got
they
4,
they
but 3?
they I've been sleeping on Fnatic, man. I think I need to turn it around with Fnatic. But yeah,
It's,
like Cloud9 though, they've completely turned it around. I potentially could. I think like one right here, they're one of the most complete teams. Cloud, who are they up against? They're versing Miles first, which I think they should be winning that easily. And
oh yeah, I
then
think so
between now,
comfortably.
yeah, Miles had a very impressive run. Exertion, Frozen as well. He's been looking like the star, like he was meant to be. Before or after Ops was in the roster. Then after that, it's going to be like Fnatic versus Outsiders, and Cloud9 should definitely be beating both of those teams without question, I don't think. Fnatic, they've been surprising a lot of people, including myself. I don't know, you put it on Twitter that I've been sleeping on them, so.
Yeah, but the question is then, well, Cloud9 seem to live and die on Nafany's confidence.
Yes.
Like, the T sides either do literally nothing or look somewhat, like, good. Like, they never look brilliant on T side, especially across more than one map. But if Nafany's feeling it, they'll keep it competitive at least. And then on the CT side, yeah. If Nafany's fragging, Shiro's always going to deliver. They're a pretty dangerous side to face. But we do have, well, I don't know about you, but some people still have some doubts about them on the big stage in the big moments. And that could come back to haunt them in the major playoffs, which is the biggest stage, literally, and, kind of metaphorically, that we have in this game right now.
Yeah, honestly, the actual crowd for this, I'm surprised during the Legends, did they go 3-0 in Legends? I'm trying to remember. What
Cloud9.
did they? Yeah, Cloud9. What did
Yeah.
they actually go? They went 3-0 against
Yeah.
FaZe, Na'Vi, and Heroic.
Yeah, they had tough ones to do. The
seeding, like really tough ones.
Seedings for this event have been all over the place, and honestly, terrible, just terrible. Cloud9 had to face basically everyone to get through, and who did Fury beat?
Fury, they've beat Ends, which is Spirit, which actually managed to crawl their win from that liquid.
Yeah,
that's
probably
liquid
their toughest
defeat. That was a
opponent.
tough one. And then, well, Big, which is
yeah, they faced their toughest opponent was Spirit. Like Spirit are good. I rate Spirit. I literally put money on them to beat Liquid because they're just better. But man, I did not like. I did not like the matchups we got out of this event. It was so awkward.
Especially like coming in as well. Who did FaZe versus? They versus like Cloud9. No, who did they win straight away? I think FaZe versus Vitality right straight away, which is already quite a bit.
Yeah, FaZe did not have an easy run either. I mean, they still should have done better.
No,
but
I
you
think
can at least give them an excuse.
Yeah. I mean, after watching their games,
they lost to Cloud9, Vitality, and B&E. Like, yeah.
But Cloud9 on the other hand, like, yeah, well, yeah. But Cloud9 on the other hand, they've actually versed, again, as you said, a lot of high tier opponents already. They've beaten Na'Vi, they beat FaZe, they beat Heroic. Already like 3 really high tier teams. Like, who shouldn't they be after being those teams? Fair enough, some of them was a best of 1, like against Na'Vi and Mirage, but they've already shown that it's there.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be good for your. If they keep it together and play the same level in the playoffs, that's good for that C9 pick. Because look, Cloud9 beat them in a best one on Mirage. Mirage is a decider map in so many of these big series. You know their overpass is really good.
Yes.
You know they've got maps to go to. I would be confident, a little confident. Now, the part that's scary is the reason I picked Na'Vi as my favourite is that, like, Cloud9 are good, but they'll never have the best player on the server when they play Na'Vi.
No, I can agree on that. Simple.
I love Shiro, but he's not simple, is he? He's just not quite simple.
He doesn't have that impact compared to Simple. He's more like a slow passive AWPer, compared to Simple, where he can just take over in a series or even a tournament, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's been the most impressive part, is the tournament takeovers. Like, anyone can dominate a series, put up a 1.5 rating. That sort of statistical anomaly type performance. But for Simple, that's events wide. It's not series through. And I think if you look at the rest of the team, sure, we'd like to see a more informed bit. Electronic also maybe hasn't been quite the same level last sort of few series. Hello, dog.
Show him up. To be fair though, like Na'Vi, like, do you think they could easily win it, or do you think it might be a struggle? Because they already lost to like Liquid on Ancient and Cloud9. Do you think it's going to be a comfortable, or do you think it'll be kind of an uphill battle?
I think they'll actually dispatch a Furia quite comfortably.
All right.
I see that as a 2-0, smash them, leave them in the road and drive off. Then it's actually a tough game. Like Spirit Heroic, borderline coin flip this game, at least in my opinion. I do see Heroic winning. I do think they are still just about better, but it's not an easy one to call. And then going into that Na'Vi matchup, it's not as comfortable. I don't think the map pool is going to be fun. They're going to have to play some teams who are confident on a lot of maps, especially the weird ones. Looking at you, Spirit, like Lovin', Vertigo, Ancient, all these sorts of things. I see them taking the semi-final 2-1, grand final. It's either going to be a really great game against Cloud9 or a somewhat disappointing game against Outsiders. I think Outsiders make the final if they're, and I think they do make it that far. They'll beat Fnatic, who are, yeah, it's nice to see them there, but they're not actually that good. They upset Cloud9, it's going to be a horrible final. I just don't think they have what it takes to win a grand final on a stage against Na'Vi. I just don't think they have the experience. I don't think they have the superstar quite developed there yet. And as much as James is a great IGL, really good AWPer, don't think he quite has the pieces right now to beat Na'Vi. It'll be not a great game. But if it's Cloud9, yeah, it'll be a thriller, it'll be a banger. Na'Vi should take it though too.
Outsiders has really Outsiders really surprised me actually with like how far they've come as well. Like James Calling has actually been really good, like fantastic. He's worked with 3 different lineups, with Buster, Buster lineup, the Yakinda lineups, and now this one with Fame, and they've all made it to playoffs now. Like, not having an impactful player like Yakinda, who's, well, most people would say would just elevate most teams. The fact that he has those pieces and got them to the playoffs is beyond me. Like, it speaks levels to like his calling and his play style and how he wants the team to play.
Well, for me, it's a couple things. Firstly, it's James and IGL. Secondly, I'm not sure who does the scouting for that, but they've done a bang-up job.
Yeah,
I think 100%. It's Dastan. I've got a feeling it's Dastan because they recruited heavy out of K23, who are like the go-to Kazakhstani type org. Like, I think it might have been Dastan who does that sort of recruitment job, but he's nailed it with his pickups. And lest we forget, James is the IGL who took Adren, Sanji, Buster, Kicker to a major final.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's a great IGL isn't news. Like, it had to be proven because that lineup, they faced not exactly the toughest competition. Another perfect example of why you need good seeding to make the butthole system work. Like, without it, it just produces nonsensical messes. But yeah, a Vanguard. Then he did it with Virtus Pro. Now he's done it with Outsiders, who are technically just the same thing, but new lineup. And yeah, he's securing his spot as one of the 5 best IGLs in the world, I think. Like, for me, he's top 5.
100%.
Like, he has such a unique game style. He can beat anyone on almost any map.
He's frustrating.
He's frustrating as hell
to watch and play.
Yeah, and plus he's just a good player, like really consistent, hits all his shots. Really a big fan, and you know what? They're my dark horse, my underdog pick.
Your dark horse.
Yeah, underdog, dark horse, whatever. My other pick, that is the Outsiders. Now I've got to just quickly do a little aside on the scoring, because for those of you who are aware, there is a scoreboard between me and Yumi. Now Smirky has just parroted Yumi's picks for you. We've kept it fair. There's money on the line, so he did have to choose those teams. I'm not sure you would have gone with Furia if you had another pick at the underdogs.
Against my will.
But currently I lead 9-6 after the results of the Rio challenges. I won it 2-1 in the end. Considering we each had 4 picks, pretty tragic that it ended 2-1. Goes to show it was a bit of a mess. And so we've introduced some special scoring for the champion stage. If your underdog makes the grand final, that's 2 points. They win it all, 4 points. And then if your favourite makes the final, that's 1 point. If they win it all, that's 2 points. Now, I'm about to say that. Don't quote me. I wrote it down for a reason. Yeah, that is correct. All right, cool. So
Big money on the line.
You can get 7 points total out this game. This is going to be a very big decider if it was wrong for me. As long as I get a couple points, I'm alright. But it could all just get thrown in the shitter if someone gets upset. Navi. If Navi get upset, I'm screwed. But I think I'm good. I think I've made the right picks. Smirky, we're going to have to quickly touch on some of these other teams. Don't want to keep you too long. But what do you think of this Mousesports roster? Firstly, do you think they have a chance against Cloud9? And secondly, just general thoughts long term.
I mean, to be honest, Dexter has really actually improved himself. I remember a few months ago we was talking about should Dexter be in this roster? Should he, stay in Miles? Now I think he's kind of earned his place now. I think it was because of the pieces. He didn't have the right pieces to work with, but now he actually has it, and especially with the last game against who was it? There was a game. I think it was Vitality. Like he was nuts on Mirage.
Yeah, he's
Especially
shown
with
off some more fragging, hasn't he, recently?
yeah, like for some reason, this Vitality's one kept going eight, and Dexter was there just waiting, getting doubles and triples, just farming. And especially with Frozen, again, I mentioned this before, but Frozen has been exceptional. I think he was kind of held back because he also had another star player in Rops who isn't in this isn't in this major anymore. But he has his mechanical skills is outstanding, and I'm really hoping he does make into the top 20 last year this year, sorry, because I think last year he kind of got robbed a little bit.
Yeah, I thought of the two last year, it should have been Frozen, not Rops. But of the two, I didn't think either one should have made it. Also, I didn't think Elise should have made it. I had some controversial takes apparently last year, thinking that players who didn't do anything and didn't perform to a particularly high level didn't deserve to be in the top 20. Crazy to me, but
I think overall, or just Magic making it to the playoffs itself is already an achievement, especially with academy players who are just.
Well, it's one hell of an academy, isn't it?
I know it's
as I pointed out to a bunch of people, back when they first started, their first 6 months together. Not only did they win 3 seasons of WoW, I think more than 6 months, but still they won the first 3 seasons of We Play Academy League, and then also in the background were playing in all the online cups and finishing top 4 every time. And at that point, me and a bunch of other people were just why don't you just promote Sui as soon as you can? If you're going to start promoting players to the top team, Torji was the first to go, just promote Shui. Start promoting more of these guys. Dexter was doing jack all with a team of players who, in some cases, were massively underperforming. Other cases were just waiting to go be friends with Karrigan again. Even though that was the case, you had viable options to just bring up from the academy team. You could have embedded them slowly over the course of 2021, and 2022 probably looked even stronger. Sure, it's nice that it's now working out with Dexter. If I was the GM of this team, would have probably given up on him a while ago.
And even with Sui as well, he's doing good in Game of Legion.
Yeah,
just making it to the challenges as well, with especially how young he is as well, with so little experience. Just somehow getting A-Cord to perform good. How?
Somehow. Somehow. I've read some interesting interviews about that. And some Yumi actually had a really good take about it in the challenge stage. But he was basically talking about how it was a different system that was a lot looser, and A-Cord didn't really take much initiative off his own back, and Dexter didn't really know what to tell him to do, so it just ended up not doing anything. It's kind of how A-Cord put it.
So you think A-Cord suits more like a structured system where maybe the IGL points him in the direction?
I think at the time he wasn't ready for the looser system.
He wasn't ready.
I'm not sure Sui's calling a particularly structured game. He calls a good game, but still, a lot of it's based off, couple entry packs, finding probing areas, taking heads up contact fights in a lot of cases, things that work in the current game, but also things that are objectively not particularly well drilled. So A-Core, I think, has now got more self-confidence, more belief to just pick his angles, take his shots, do his thing. Whereas in the Mouse lineup, he was content to just ride it out and just let it be because he, I don't know, maybe didn't have the confidence for it.
Yeah,
that seems to be the story.
No, but Miles, I think they've definitely earned their spot. Against, Vitality, especially that win was so fun to watch as well.
Oh yeah, Especially as your favorite gambler over here, who thought Mouse would win it. Yeah, that was one hell
There
of a
was
fun game to watch.
I still think they could have easily gone 3-0. They should have beat Big Man. Outsiders, maybe.
Outsiders is a loss that made sense to me. Like Outsiders
Yeah.
are a better IGL. Overall, you don't think of them as having maybe more skilled players. You know, you've got Zertian, Frozen, Torshi. But then you think, well, Torshi doesn't perform as well in Tier 1. Jame does. Jame just is Jame, no matter who he's facing. And then the rest of the Rifle Corps, he's got some really banging young players around Jame. The guys like Fame, Norbert, a lot of people don't seem to be a big fan of. I think mostly that's some of his decision making. But his fragging wise, he's fine. And then Kicker and Flit. Flit we already knew was a banger. Kicker, he's a bit all over the shop, but he can have some really, really high level games. So the fragging was there, the calling's better. It just made sense that they'd get beaten. Getting smashed 2-0 was a bit of an embarrassment, but it all made sense to me.
I don't fault it too much. What was these scores on that, actually? It was 16-10, 16-10. So they kind of...
And you hitting double digits, most people are like, oh, you're good, you got double digits. But when you watch the game, you know the feeling. Like, you were never in that. Even though you made 10.
I didn't get a chance to watch that game, but it looks... I don't know, I think Outsiders were just playing their own game, from what it looks like. Grinding it out.
When it's close at halftime on that Inferno map, and you think, oh, yeah, we did a good job on our T side. And Inferno just smash, and then the Outsiders smash you 9-2. You're like, oh, never mind.
Without Ikenда as well.
Yeah, without your Kindar, because as I point this out on, I think it was a watch party with Thorin. I was like, you know, their numbers, like in terms of their Inferno win rate, like their round win rate, it's the same with or without your Kindar. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's like within 0.2%, I think. It's ridiculously close. And we also did agree actually on a point that we didn't like how much Jame wants to pick it, because a lot of the time they haven't looked great with or without your Kindar. But now in this lineup, yeah, they won it. Here, they still have so much threat on other maps, like maps that are bigger, I think, and allow for more rotations, more fuckery, are just better for Jame. I've always liked him on Vertigo as well. Like watching his like multi-pronged, like just leaving people around, Kicker just slowly walking up the A ramp as everyone's fighting B, and then you see a last second rotation. Like this crazy stuff really is Jame through and through. And in the current state of the map pool, it works quite well. Like there's a lot of maps where you can pull that sort of stuff off. So that keeps them dangerous. This is a bit of a tangent though. Mouse sports. Just gonna nail you down on this point. Do you think long term this team has top 5 written on their in their stars in their future? Like, do you think they are a team who will be eventually competing for consistent top 4, top 2 placings, as currently constructed?
I'm as of right with this current roster or as with their current experience, I don't think they can consistently be in the top 2, top like 4. I think they may, there may be some ifs in there, like the one tournament they might make it or some anomalies.
Right.
But I think because right now they look really good. I think they just honestly need experience and just time to grind it out. I'm not saying they're bad, just more time against the higher tier teams just to kind of get conditioned against them, be ready. But I think like anyone within the top 15, they should be beaten, honestly. Like the top 15, top 10s, whatever. Top 5s, that's when it might be a bit of a battle, I would think.
Okay. I've got a bit of a different feeling about them currently. Like currently they look like a team who, depending on who they play, is how I predict their victories. Like it's very matchup based, which I like. I much prefer a very close, like, everyone from like number 4 to number 15, 20. It can depend on the matchup. Like, sure, on average, the team who's like 5th is like, on average, much more consistently better than team number 17. But team number 16, their map pool's a problem for team number 4. Like, that sort of thing is interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Like counters and...
Yeah, little counters, little details in the matchups. I think Mouse Sports, when they play against outsiders, not betting on them. Just not. Like, outsiders going to beat them. Then when they face Ents, I'm like, oh, you know what? Ents like to scrap, and Mouse, well, they'll make it into a brawl. Like they've got the players for it. They'll actually they'll turn up in that sort of game. You see guys like Zertian, Frozen, JDC even has ridiculous mechanics. Absolutely slept on player. He showed actually in some of the maps they played at this event. I think one nuke game especially where he just wrecked people everywhere. They're a really high skilled team. Just don't really realize it because they don't have as many big dubs, big upset wins against the really top names. Yeah, biggest question mark though, Torshi. If Torshi goes from this level where he's sometimes good, sometimes mid, to being consistently good to great, that step up, that I feel like he can take, because I've watched a lot of him, like POV, he's got the mechanics for it. At times he makes great decisions, just doesn't seem to keep that sort of form up against the best opponents. If he can find that, I think the team takes another step up. Xertion's proving himself, Frozen is proven, and the rest of the team is plenty complementary. So if the AWP slots in nicely, finds that next gear, they're a dangerous team. Now, though,
do you think like this mage, like the crowd is really helping them? Do you think they're getting a bit of a crowd buff playing this tournament? Because I slightly think there is something a bit.
Mouse Sports, I think, have benefited a little bit.
Yeah.
I more think the crowd was a weird one for me because I said they'd help Imperial. That's why I picked them as one of my underdogs in the Challenger stage.
I picked them 3-0.
I didn't pick them 3-0, but I picked them on this show. I don't think they were in my pick'ems. But I said, the crowd's going to be buffing them up. These guys are experienced. They know how to play with the crowd. They know how to take that pressure and use it positively. So I thought that'd be great for them. Then I also said in the same breath, pretty much, 9Z are going to get crushed by the pressure. 00 Nation, they're young stars. They're going to feel that pressure so much more than if this was a studio LAN, and they're going to struggle. They're likely to struggle. That's why I didn't want to bet on them. Turns out I was also right about them, but it also turns out I was wrong about Imperial, who just couldn't find that real buff. Like, they put up a good fight against Cloud9. So I guess, realistically, looking at the quality of these teams, that is a buff. Like, you'd expect them to get absolutely routed by Cloud9 usually. And here they were pretty much competitive. Like, it's 2 overtime maps that they lost on.
I think last year they also caused some upsets. Oh, well, in the Antwerp Major, I think they also caused some upsets.
Well, they made it to the Legend stage.
Yeah, they did. I'm trying to find out who they actually beat.
Oh, they won a Mirage game that annoyed me, I remember.
I'm pretty sure they also versed, I know they versed Copenhagen Flames, Cloud9.
Oh, they got smashed by Flames, right?
No, I remember that. That was the one to make it to
that was the best of 3
playoffs. that was like a really good game as well. But
as a Flames fan, yeah, it was.
I was
yeah, they 2-1 Cloud9.
Antwerp, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I was expecting them to see if they could put more of a fight because it's real. I was expecting the LAN buff just to carry them.
It's LAN. Not only is it a LAN buff, it's LAN crowd buff. They've got a better player in for FNX. They've got Cello in, who I really rate. Like, I thought it'd be a massive upgrade. Turns out, no. Everyone else was like, we're not having this. Just because you got the crowd doesn't mean we're going to whiff all our shots today. So they just got dumped out of the tournament unceremoniously. But yeah, that was a crazy Mirage game against Cloud9 in last event, in Antwerp.
Yeah.
16-3. I was just like, watching the game, I was slowly getting like angrier and angrier. I was like, what is going on? Why?
Because
my pick'ems are screwed.
I mean, this major, everyone's pick'ems is screwed.
Yeah, I mean,
whoever put FaZe 0-3 for their legends, they need a medal. Because I don't think no one would have thought about that.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, FaZe, they look a bit shaky on their form coming in. It's not brilliant. Like, you want to see better from them." No one expected 0-3. Like,
no
at all. At all. See, even the dog agrees.
I know he's still upset about the FaZe loss, man. He took it personally against that game on Cloud9.
Fair enough. It's very understandable. The frustrating FaZe fan game. Thankfully, as someone who thought they'd lose, very happy to see it happen. Like, as the rounds that come back, I was like, yes. I was mid-recording as well, tabbing out every time I finished a sentence to see what's going on. Absolutely loved it.
Like, I remember, I think I was watching the FaZe game. I was like, oh, I'll tweet some stuff out. Yeah, rain looks great. I'll just step away from the computer for a bit. Yeah, so Cloud9 are currently at match point. I'm like, what happened?
I blinked. Like, that sort of thing. But yeah, I really was a huge comeback, that one. Probably the most impressive just in terms of the people they faced as well, to make the comebacks happen. Like, sure, going from 15-0 down to winning 19-15 in overtime, technically a bigger comeback, but if you do it against nobodies, it's not as impressive. They really made these comebacks work against big names.
Fizz as well.
Yeah. Cloud9,
Like,
impressive grit and
Stark
resolve so far.
Do you think this might be a bit off topic? We haven't really talked about Vitality. Do you think Vitality is do you think their losses are like genuine, or do you think they should have been at playoffs?
They should have made playoffs. Like their Vitality for
Obviously,
that.
yeah.
Like it's not just that they won the last event, it's that they're just too good to have gone out of this stage. Like they're just too good. Like in terms of the roster they have, they're too good. Losing 2-0 to Ents especially, like sure, I was like G'ing up Snappy, like, yo, best of threes. This is where the great ones, the good IGLs like come through. And then he goes and knocks out Vitality. I was like, damn it, why? Like, I didn't have you going through. I had them going through. And their losses, they're both in overtime in the best of ones.
Yeah.
2 Mouse Sports, 2 Na'Vi, both of them playoff teams. It really makes you hate. It makes you hate buttholes, doesn't it? Like it really does. Like that system. It's not. The problem is every time I say that, I also have to pinch myself and go, no, the problem isn't buttholes. It's the seeding used to make the butthole system work. The seeding is terrible. The fact that we use this ridiculous system of, where you finished in the RMR kind of dictates your seeding, and then also how you played in the challenger stage. Like, guys, can we just use a good seeding system, like a proper ranking, like either HLTVs, ESLs, anyone's that isn't this mess, and we'd actually get good matchups in the buttholes. Instead,
we had this.
Oh, so frustrating.
But like even players like Zyru massively underperformed. Like a 1.08 rating for Zyru?
Yes.
Really? That's like
so
for an average player, that's fine. Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, yeah, my average rifler does that. Happy.
Yeah, Zyru should be like 1.2, 1.3. He should be up there.
He definitely should, and he was great in that one game they won when they beat FaZe. 1.8 rating, Inferno, massive performance, pretty much carried. I was also even more confusing. He was great in the grand final of EPL.
He was, yeah, 100%.
Like, he had one of his best series ever. 5 maps, all of them exemplary, averaged nuts statistics. Like that should have been the standard we get here. This was easier games. But
to put it into context, before this event in the last 3 months, Zyru is 1.3 rated, and he's leaving Rio with 1.08. What?
I think I know the problem. It's too warm in Rio.
It's too warm in Rio.
Yeah, Zyru, not a warm weather guy. I think that must be it. Wait, no, EPL was in Malta, wasn't it? Bloody hell, that doesn't even work. I'm trying to make excuses for him. Can't. Oh, well, I guess he's just a choker. Time to give up on Zyru. Shiro's our next god. HLTV, please make him top 1. There we go.
Shiro next simple.
I mean, wonderful next simple. Have you watched this kid?
That game was actually pretty nuts. To be honest, I didn't watch all the Liquid game because it was like 1 o'clock, and I would like to wake up. I would like to wake up for work in time, but from what I watched, Wonderful was just. And also, when I woke up this morning, that I saw the photo of a Liege like crying, and I was like, "Damn, that's heartbreaking."
Big sad. Should have played better.
Big sad. Get good.
Yeah, it sucks. Get good. Yeah, I honestly Wonderful. Watch some of his POVs. There is moments where you think, am I actually watching Simple? Not necessarily from like a flick quality standpoint, or like he's playing exactly the same level as Simple as. He's still 17. But watch him on the AWP when he flicks and then has the little wiggle.
Yes,
the little
I
wiggle.
was going to say that little wiggle.
It's like I'm actually watching Simple.
I've noticed that as well. I think it was it Ancient? It was like one of the games. I was like in CT, then all of a sudden he flicks and like he shakes. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this Simple playing?
He's doing the Simple thing.
Modesty does it as well. Like the 3 of them.
It's a I don't know what it is that. I think it's all
like
high sense players.
Like, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure they're all very high sense players. It's like when you flick. I don't know because I'm not gonna call myself Modesty or Simple whatever. But I remember when I used to play with the AWP, I kind of did something similar where mine would shake after flicking, and I'm on quite high sense. So I think it's something like that, but it's fun to watch. But But with Wonderful, would you say it's his mechanics what makes him great, or would you say there's also like his game
Mostly
IQ is
for now,
also pretty high?
mostly it's mechanics. Like there are moments, like when you see him in clutches. That's something I always look into when I watch young players, is see their intuitive feel for clutches. And he's clearly got some instinct for the game. When you watch him clutch, he picks angles very well. He's like got a really good mental clock of when to peek things, when to stay hidden. Even before the bomb's been tapped, obviously. Mostly for now, it's the mechanics though. He is very consistent, hits nice shots. Rarely has a shaky crosshair that's in the wrong places at the wrong times. All those sorts of things he does really well. And then of course on top of that, he has got a great IGL using him, and he stays pretty composed in the big games, as we've seen so far. That seems to be a common theme throughout Spirit's history, though, that no matter how young the players are, they always keep their nerve and play to their level at the big events. So I think it's either something Chopper does or feeds them to create this. Like, is there a
they're just emotionless, or either they're emotionless or they're too close to their bloody monitors to even notice there's a crowd. Like
they're all smelling the pixels. They can't even tell there's a crowd.
Like Yakinda, like he's like, "Oh, we're on land." Because like how close he is.
Yeah, it's an interesting case because when they performed at Antwerp, a lot of people were surprised. I wasn't surprised by the level they showed because I knew the players they had were capable of it. It was more of they did it on a bigger stage, and Chopper also called a really good game. Like a combination of factors aside from just the individuals playing well. And then to see it do it again, I think is really validating for Chopper especially. Like it wasn't just Dexter dictating picks, getting aggressive, doing all this stuff. It was his system and his players that he's pretty much raised up. Either the academy or the main team.
It's also pretty surprising because Dexter was a huge piece. Like I think at the last major, he was their best player, like their star AWPer. He was, especially against that Fizz team in playoffs, he was like really, really pushing Fizz against the edge on Dust 2. I remember that game pretty well. Yeah. But to have like Wonderful, like kind of fill in a bit of those shoes is already pretty surprising. I need to watch more Spirit demos, if I'm honest. I've been mostly paying attention to Cloud9, Furia, Fnatic, Fizz.
Yeah, Outsiders and Spirit, both of them great to watch. I mean,
yeah,
Outsiders for the game plan, Spirit for the individuals often. I think in the case like Patsy, Magix, wonderful, absolutely gorgeous trio to watch. But enough about these young CIS players. I think we need to call it there because I think we're both using our lunch breaks to do this.
Unfortunately.
Because it's a bit of a mess. Yeah, I wish I could talk about Counter-Strike until the cows come home, but unfortunately we can't. Yeah, the predictions are in. I've told you the score with my voice because there's going to be no time to edit this. It's basically going to be whacked up on YouTube as soon as I can. But yeah, that's the score going in. There's a lot to play for. 7 points up for grabs. And if Smirky or Yumi, whoever you want to mentally envision it as, gets that Fury pick right, I'm pretty much screwed. So we'll see what's what, and we'll find out in the next episode of this who has to donate what to charity. All right. Smirky again, thank you for filling in so last minute as well. Yeah, you did a great job. I'm KingT. Sub for more of this. Leave a comment telling me why you think Yumi's wrong. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.